Hi everyone, welcome to this reading. So I have some cards laid out. We're going to go over this. I started recording this and I realized that I was missing a key component of what's being shown to me. So I just want to re-record it, and we'll pull more cards out on top of this as well. So first, if you're interested in 5-minute subliminals, there are 2 customizable 5-minute subliminal slots available down in the description box. They are a collaboration between myself and Immortal Bloom, who is doing the music now on the Ritual channel. If you're interested in meditation, subliminals, overnight affirmations, definitely check that channel out. It's linked down in the description box below. And new moon messages coming up on the new moon at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a private event between myself and iScribe Steph. We'll be doing collective messages for the collective that shows up for that reading. So definitely check that out if you're interested. And let's see. I think that's it. Okay, we're going to just get right into this then. I'm already tuned in. I already started this. The collective that I'm tapping into for this, there's this sense of returning in our journey where maybe we, it's not quite the same way, but we're going back to something. And it feels like we're going back to something from when we were quite young. This may be a state of being, right? So it may be like an openness of our heart, or it may be hobbies that we let go of. It may be relationships that we need to mend or that need mended with us, right? Maybe there are, it just feels like a state of more innocence, more openness, more vulnerability that we seem to be stepping into, a place where we remember that we have to have fun, where we have to be a little bit more lighthearted in life. There seems to be some sort of question here that needs to be asked. This question, if you are somebody who works heavily with your guides, maybe you feel that your guides have led you in a direction and now you don't know where to go. It's a good time to start asking questions. Make sure that you're asking the right questions, right? It's important to have a higher vantage point and to ask those questions. For some of you, these questions need to be asked of a partner. For example, if you are somebody who ascribes to twin flames and you find yourself on that journey, there's some questions that you might need to ask in order to understand where it is that you're exactly going. For some of you, however, this is about questions with yourself, understanding that you came into this world with the code of what it is that you're supposed to be doing here this time around. If you want insights into that, definitely check out your natal chart, right? It may not tell you the exact details, but it's going to tell you a pretty good, general direction. And how you display that is up to you. That's just the energy that's present. This is what you need to do. You have to figure out and ask yourself what you want to figure out exactly how to do that, right? And that's the question. We have to ask ourselves questions. There's something that happens inside the spiritual walk for many people, and I think that it's really due to some big religion ideas. And not that there's anything wrong with particular big religions, but I do think that there's a little bit of spiritual slavery that's involved in many of them, right? And one of the ways that spiritual slavery bleeds into the spiritual community that may be separate from big religions is that we still adopt the idea that we have to answer to something else. Now, if you believe that, that's fine. It's not to say that that's a wrong belief, but a byproduct of that belief is that we tune in less and less to ourselves and we stop asking ourselves what we want. There's this need to remember that what you want is valid. Now, if, obviously if you're a person who's just like blown around and you want something different every day, you might want to ground yourself a little bit before you ask yourself that. And even if you are like that deep down inside, there's going to be some very specific things that you've wanted for yourself. Because we as people, we have the mechanism of having goals and dreams and desires. This is a natural part of the human experience, no matter how evolved you become, right? When we detachment doesn't mean apathy. I just want to say that, right? Because a lot of people, when they start implementing Eastern ideas into themselves, they really confuse detachment with apathy. So this isn't about being apathetic. This is about coming to yourself, the altar of self, and asking yourself, what is it that we're here for? What is it that we want to do? Again, checking your natal chart is very important, right? Check out where you've been, where you're going, your north and south nodes. This is how we are going to find some measure of success in our life, our happiness in our life. It unlocks something for us. So when we come to these questions, what we're asking ourselves is, what direction do I want to go in? What do I want to do with this, right? You're allowed to have wants. You're allowed to understand what you want. You're allowed to give yourself the space to develop those things over time. Here, what we have is we have a process of growth that's showing up with the fairy of growth. This is one way that you're going to grow, is by tuning into the self and really understanding what you want in any given moment, right? This is very important. This is something that's highly overlooked in the spiritual community. And this is why we have indecision. We become very indecisive. And before you know it, our lives have passed. We haven't done anything that we're happy with them. And we wonder why. We wonder why nobody ever told us what to do, as though it's someone else's responsibility, right? It's our responsibility. It's our responsibility to steer our own ship. And that's really what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing that someone is learning how to steer their own ship. That doesn't mean that you're being disobedient to God, or, you know, however it gets interpreted. It means that you're living as a person. It means that you're actualizing yourself. Here, what we have is we have returning. For some people, this is a process of returning to a state that we had when we were much younger again. And I'm seeing that here because what we have is we have this cluster here that is the Smith, the fairy of youth, and the child. This isn't about going back and revisiting trauma. This is about going back and revisiting who we were before the world sort of did the world number on us, right? Before our brains develop under the stress and the pressures of this illusion, right? It's so funny because we come into life exactly how we're supposed to be, and with all that good energy and imprint and encoding inside of us, and through the process of learning, which is one of the, if you're familiar with the Shiva Sutras, learning is one of the parts of the illusion. It's one of the tools of the illusion that gets its hooks in, is when we learn a certain way, right? So our brains are developing, they're undeveloped, and yet we're learning, and we're building our foundation of our perception of the universe and the world and our life and our place in it out of these baby brains and these toddler brains and these, you know, then the preteen brains and then the teen brains and then the young adult brains, as though we have any capacity to understand shit, right? And this is what we adopt into ourselves as our story, as our narrative, as the truth of things. And this is why we fall for this illusion, right? Because this is all stemming from a paradigm that's built off of baby brain. And our process of our life and our spiritual evolution and our growth and our healing is unraveling and unpackaging all of that to get back to the beginning, to get back to the source point of ourself, right? Those codes, the astrological codes. There is this sense here of the Saturn, right? Captive man. This is very much a devil card for me. Devil in the tarot is a card of Capricorn and Saturn. And so this is about the things that constrict us, the things that bind us. Someone is going on this returning back journey in order to loose themselves from these energies. There may be some shadow material that's coming out right now. There may be an understanding of, wow, I keep doing X, Y, Z, even though I don't want to do that anymore, because what I want to do requires me to do these things in order to get to where I want to be. And having grace and patience for yourself as that's happening, because the shadow doesn't want to change, is very important. Right? It's not a problem with you. it's a human problem. It's a part of a mechanism that we all have. It's part of the obstacle that we have to overcome, integrate, and love in order to get to where it is that we're trying to go, right? There's this very impressive sort of journey that's taking place right now for somebody, and there's a lot of pitfalls in this journey, ways that we trip ourselves up, ways that we berate ourselves, ways that we think, oh my God, there's something wrong with me, when will this right end? You know, a lot of those energies coming up here for whoever this collective is, and in reality this is a return to innocence. It's a return to self. Okay. A lot of people have been asking me about this bird deck in the comments, from what I understand. I don't know. I don't always have time to check comments. I definitely don't have time to respond to things. So I'm going to show this real fast. I found the box. This was sent to me by a lovely friend and channel member. It's Between Worlds, and it's Oracular Cards and Guidebook. I know some of you have been asking about where to find it on Amazon. I don't think it's available on Amazon. So, okay. So the first card that comes out is Community. The process that's really happening here is this is interesting. I don't really know how to put this, so bear with me. I'm going to try to word this. What happens when we come back to the state of innocence is it naturally opens up the heart space. It opens up those defenses. It opens up our war energy, and it allows us to experience the oneness, right? You may be having a deep, profound connection at this time. You may be about to step into one, whoever this message is for. This is about having our period of isolation. This came out in yesterday's reading. I always have the previous day's reading linked at the end, so definitely check it out if this one resonates for you. This is about going on a process and a journey, right? That hero's journey to really come to the altar of self, to understand that there's something higher, there's something deeper, there's something more. Even if we've been on a spiritual journey, we get to this point and we understand that, oh, it's an unraveling to get back to who I was really meant to be before I bought into the illusion, right? As we navigate back to that space, there's a desire to reconnect that starts to happen. It doesn't mean you're going to go out and be an extrovert and go party on every weekend, right? It just means that there's an understanding that connection and the experience of other individuated source points is important. It's part of the point, right? Is the reintegration. You're not just integrating things inside yourself, you're reintegrating with the whole world, right? The outer world as well. And this is something that somebody's starting to desire to do, or there's a significant relationship that's taking place that is requiring this. So this is one reason why this innocence is coming up now. When we have this, what we have is multiplicity. Now, I'm reading this card a little bit different in terms of this reading. I'm seeing the Vesica Pisces here, so two things merging, whether this is yourself and another person or yourself and the world at large. And there's almost like these two eggs. One egg is like merged on top of this bird's head, and then there's this egg up here. What is the potential of the other thing? It's yet to be seen. But the potential of the person whose message this is, it's in your mind. It's in the way that you perceive things. It's in the way that you process things. It's in the way that you personalize and internalize things. There's a drastic, radical transformation that's trying to take place. As we lift off these layers, as we dig deeper, the higher we go in our ascent, the deeper those roots become. It's not that the roots actually become deeper, it's that we discover that they're deeper. And so that was part of yesterday's message again. There are aspects deep down that are starting to surface to try to heal as part of this process, right? Now, one thing that happens when we're a child, it's almost like we have this like little understanding here, and we grow and we grow and we grow and we develop these like baggages and issues and narratives and limitations and reactions to them, and we have this understanding of the world. And what happens as we begin to heal those things is these things still exist, but now we're integrating the information in a completely different way, so that now in this little area we find our happiness and our bliss, but we're still understanding that we're comprised of all these pieces. What happens there is that we gain a higher perspective. We're not existing in this small world that's having like this extreme reaction to visceral stimulation constantly. What we have is we have this higher perspective. We're operating from not this child mind, right? This ego identity. We're operating from a divine self. And so someone here, you may be having these experiences where you feel a little out of your body sometimes. You feel very, I think some people might consider it ungrounded. I actually think being ungrounded is something a little different. You might feel sometimes like, oh, I don't care enough, or I don't feel quite the way that I used to. And, sometimes when we experience a shift in our emotional state and the things that we're holding on to and the things that we're not holding on to, it can be quite jarring. Remember, there's a difference between detachment and apathy. That's something that people don't really seem to understand when they really get into these concepts. A lot of people really mistake detachment with apathy. They're completely different. The person that I'm picking up on, this collective, there's detachment, not apathy. They look a little different, right? The motivations behind them are a little different. The direction that they lead us is a little different. There's a detachment that's coming in because it's understanding that I can go back to the state, and without having this, everything is so serious and everything is affecting me. If I knock my knee or miss that bill, it's the end of the world. It's this idea that, it is what it is, and it's happening exactly as it's happening. And from this space, I have the authority to navigate in whatever direction I need to make it better, right? Ownership. Okay. Inner temple. Devotion, tune into the portal of your heart. And so we end with the same idea that we had in the very beginning with this question. It is very important at this time to go in and to really tune into the self in order to ask these questions. Whatever direction it is that you're going in, if there's an unknown in terms of how do I, what exactly do I, right? Do, create, whatever it is, the answer is already inside of you. These aren't answers that other people can answer for us, right? This is, a lot of times, this is why people will tune into readers. Like, I want something very specific to just tell me exactly what to do. Everybody is so different, and your choices are part of the path. Your choices are part of your spiritual path. The things that you choose to do, your choice is an essential, crucial piece of this puzzle. There is, when we develop the ability to make those choices and to steer our own ship, that's really where we step into our authenticity, right? If we haven't developed that yet, we're not sure of what that authenticity requires of us. There are, again, maybe there's a little bit of a solar plexus. I want to put it this way. When we have, okay, let me show you this card. When we have this, right? This is, again, the possibility. And while this is possibility of mind, it's using our mind in tandem with that solar plexus energy, right? Who am I? I am, right? What am I becoming? What do I see for myself? What direction am I going to go? What empowers me? And exercising that personal power along with that third eye, right? Our personal vision. These are the things that really allow us to create out here, because what's happened first is we've created inside. So going inside, asking the questions, learning to become a decisive person for ourselves, understanding what it is that we want and that we have the right to enact those things. We have the right to create those things for ourselves, right? This is very important. There's something here that I'm almost seeing like chains that's holding somebody back. Why are we giving that personal power away? That's a good question to ask ourselves from time to time. And can we unlock that in order to allow ourselves to ask these deeper questions and to navigate the path the way that we see fit for ourselves? So, someone here, again, this card is coming out. This card has come out many, many times over the past like 2 weeks. Someone here, part of the path is something that has to do with healing, right? Something that is quite healing for others. Some of you might be studying to become a death doula. That just came through very strongly with the Valley of Annihilation showing up down there. You might be becoming a hospice worker, for example. Some of you are really stepping into a path of shamanism and dealing with the dead. So some of you, mediumship also is coming through very strongly. So there's this essence of like the internal fire. There is an internal fire. There's something that this collective is very passionate about. It may be buried. It may have been buried for a very long time. There might be all sorts of, well, I could never do that, and nobody can do that and live, and nobody can survive in this economy doing this. Like whatever the things are that we tell ourselves that they look good when we say them, but they're not really based in reality. They might be based in our own experience, but they're not necessarily based in objective reality, whatever that is. And so this is kind of the message, is to get in tune with yourself, allow those things to be stripped away so that you can understand what you were made for, right? What it is that you came here for. So whoever's message this is, I wish you the best of luck with this. If this resonates for you, please hit that like button. Feel free to leave me a comment, and until next time.